I'm Jeannie Ralston, for those I haven't met yet, and we're so happy you're here to talk about Ireland. This will be our second trip to Ireland. We went last year, last June or late May, and it was a fabulous trip, and so fabulous that we're doing it again. But this we're going to do it in my mind, even bigger and better, not bigger maybe, but better, because we're going to be more focused and it's going to be even more carefully curated. So this is what we're going to talk about today, is how we're going to make this trip to Ireland really fabulous. So we focus on the Western coast, which is just tremendous. And we, on that last year's trip, we went along the Western coast, and one of our guides, we worked with a company, a separate company, to do all of our logistics. And as one of the guides on our trip was Maria O'Loughlin, and she's here. We've decided to work directly with her because she's a woman our age. She gets us. We love her. She's fabulous. She's so smart about Irish history. She's a writer. She gave us so much great context for what it's like to grow up and live in Ireland, be a woman in Ireland, some of the folklore and Celtic history. So Maria, hi, we're so glad you're going to work with us this again.
Thank you. It's a real honor, and I have to say, I really fell in love with Next Tribe and what you're all about.
Well, it was such a quite a great experience, and we also had on the trip Joy Mills, and some of you know Joy because she's traveled with us a bunch, and she's just traveled on her own. She's one of the most well-traveled people I've ever met, and she was on the trip, and it was her first time in Ireland. But you have had a love for Ireland forever, right, Joy?
I've always loved Ireland. I also have relatives that are from Ireland or were from Ireland. They've since passed, but so I've always, and yeah, I have relatives there, so it's always been a real pull to
Yeah.
be in Ireland. Oops.
And so when we were there last year, I thought Joy would be a perfect guide. Joy and Maria together, like this is the A team, star team, because they each bring so much love for Ireland and so much heart into the trip. And Joy had accomplished something she's always wanted to do. She's got a fantastic voice. And we went out to pubs, of course, because that's what you do, and that's how you really find out the life of the small towns you're in. And she accomplished a dream of singing in an Irish pub in Ireland, and it was tremendous.
And it's been a lifelong dream.
So if everyone's lucky, that will happen again, and we'll get it on tape this time, a good tape, a good video, and good photos of this. But so, like I said, we did this trip. We did it with a company but we saw opportunities to make it really a better experience and more focused, more efficient with time. And we'll go over that in our presentation. So I invite you to write any questions as we go through the presentation in the chat, or just save them for afterwards. But Maria, Joy, and I will talk about the itinerary we've put together as we go through. So I'm going to share my screen, and just give me a moment, because this is, technologically a challenge for me to make this look smooth, but it never does. Okay, here's my thing. So, and some of these pictures, a lot of these pictures are from last year's trip. And the dates you see, as you saw, let me see. Oh, God. Wait a second. I'm going the wrong way. Sorry, guys.
Wrong way, Jeannie.
The reason is I have the little thing with all of our little pictures on it, and it's always in the way of my,
Oh yeah.
what I'm trying to do here. So I can't see, what I'm doing.
Nice
So,
cliffs, though. Great cliffs.
yeah. Straight to the west, straight to the cliffs. Okay, here, there we go.
I'm on a video call.
Okay, I'm going to mute you if you're on a video call. Okay, so here we are on May 24th to June 1st. And the idea is to get there before, it just gets inundated with tourists and stuff. It's a Maria can talk about that, that kind of weather that we're looking at when we're there. And there we go. And so we are going to be along, I don't know if you see my little arrow, but Galway, Clare, and Kerry, that whole region is known as the Wild Atlantic Way. And can you just say something, Maria, about is this just the most, I always think of bracing as the word. It's just like wind and sea and cliffs, and is that the
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think of Ireland and the map there as like a little teddy bear, we sort of start, just under the armpit there, and then go down to the toe, in South Kerry. So it's probably some of the most stunning scenery in the world, let alone Ireland. It is, you've got the Atlantic coast, you've got the Atlantic Ocean, whipping away at the land. So it's rugged, it's wild, it's elemental. So it really is stunning. However, that does bring wind and a bit of rain with it, to say the least. So
yes.
If you want that wild experience, forget your hair dryer. We'll do that. You can do your hair at nighttime, but we'll all have wild hair by the end of the day.
Well, if my hair looks like your hair, I'm happy. So
Mine comes pre-wilded. I just have to sort of leave it now like that.
And so this is just a bit about Joy and Maria,
And you can see the wind in that picture.
yeah, there's a win for Joy's picture. But Joy used to live in Dubai, and you've done, like it says here, she's done the Camino de Santiago. She's hiked up Kilimanjaro. She's been a school teacher. She's she's done it all. But you're such a graceful, cheerful woman, and just warm as can be. And Maria, I didn't realize this until after I read your bio that, I mean, you went to Trinity College in Dublin, grew up in Dublin, but you went to the screenwriting program at USC in University of Southern California. So how did I miss that? But so very impressive, very
20
impressive.
years ago. Yeah.
We're impressed. So one of the ideas we had last year, we started in Dublin, and a lot of the time of the trip was taken up going from Dublin out to the West Coast. So we were talking about how to kind of make better use of our time. So we will be flying in and out of Shannon Airport, which is on the West Coast. And that means if you want to do Dublin later, you can easily get a train. But for our purposes, to get the most for you out of your time with us, we are flying out of
Here or
in Shannon. So hold on one second. So we'll start in Galway, and Galway is known as a huge arts center, right, Maria?
Yeah, I mean, it's the fourth biggest city in Ireland, but it's probably one of the most important ones on the West Coast. And yeah, it's known worldwide for its film festival in July, for its arts festival, and it's a real center for the arts and traditional music and, all kinds of music, modern music too, but it's a real center for traditional music. It's also the home of the Claddagh Ring, which you may have seen before out there, the very famous Irish wedding ring with the crown and the heart and the hands.
Oh, wow. I didn't
So
know
that is Galway's Claddagh. Yeah, the Claddagh Ring is from there as well. So, but it's a very bustling university city. It's on the coast. It's got a beautiful river, Carib, running through it, and it's just very buzzy. It's probably got about 80,000 residents. It's not huge. It's very walkable, but it's got beautiful little areas called the Latin Quarter. There used to be, Spanish links in the medieval times. So it's a modern city with some medieval twists as well, and little cobblestone streets in certain places. So it's really quite beautiful.
And I think we're staying in the Latin Quarter. I think our hotel.
Yes. Yeah, great choice.
Yeah. So well, it was your suggestion, so I thank you. So we have a nice little hotel in Galway for 2 nights, and which will enable us to just get a good feel for the city, and do some immersive. We're doing some immersive experiences. One is we're a Celtic mythology walking tour. So we'll just, right off the bat, we'll get some, kind of get into some of the Celtic heritage. And also some of the stories about Galway. Galway is known as a city of stories. And so that storytelling is a lovely, I love good stories that makes, that my background as a writer and Maria's background as a writer, good stories are important. So we'll hear some of the stories. We'll take an Irish dancing class. There's some baking class, some scones. So we've got some immersive things and we want to make sure we'll be really careful. We definitely want to make sure you have time to scoot around and explore the city, but we want you to also sample the best.
Experience.
Yeah, experiences. So actually, I just had to include this picture because this is me last year, and this just sums up how I felt. We went south after, we started, in County Clare, and this is on the coast in County Clare, and it was just the most gorgeous sunset, and I thought I was just going to die of happiness. So that's how I felt most of the time I was there. And this is we're going to the Burren Peninsula, or is it not the peninsula, the
Yeah.
Burren National Park. Can you explain a little about the Burren, Maria?
Sure. Well, the Burren is kind of a unique place almost in the world. It is a UNESCO geopark, so it's considered to be a very unique geological and geographical area by the UN itself. And that's because it is a limestone pavement terrain, which creates very, very unusual habitats. It's a whole series of microhabitats, so that you have Arctic plants, flowers, and Mediterranean flowers and alpine flowers all living side by side in this almost unique sort of landscape that they say it inspired J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle Earth. And it looks very barren, but actually it has up to about 70% of Ireland's, animal and plant species. So it looks really rocky. The word Burren means a rocky place, Burren in the Irish language. But it is one of the most joyously, eco-diverse, fertile places in not just Ireland, but in the world. And it also has a very, very ancient heritage going back, inhabited for 6,000 years. You can see a dolmen there, what we call a dolmen. It's a portal tomb on the left-hand side there, and that is older than the pyramids. So,
Wow.
and is a very, very famous symbol of the Burren. But you're just entering an ancient, beautiful landscape that's just not like anywhere else, even or in the world. Go ahead.
What was that portal was it time travel like in Outlander? No, I'm kidding.
No. Actually, when you turn it around, because it's got a flat stone on top of two upright stones that if you look at it a certain way, it looks like a door into the next world.
Wow.
So it's like it's the portal into the next world. And you'll get a lot of that in Ireland. We call them thin places in Ireland, this idea of that there are places of such natural beauty that the spirit world and the real world kind of come together, and you can end up in one or the other if you're not too careful.
Oh my gosh, that's a wonderful way to say it. One of the thin places,
Thin places.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's very cool. And so we are going to be staying at the Falls Hotel, which it's big, but it's got a great heritage, and it's on a nice river with some waterfalls and walking paths and things like that. So, it's just like a grand old Irish hotel in the town of Ennistimon. And one of the reasons I pick it I like it, is that you can walk easily into the town of Ennistimon. And Joy, was that where you did the singing in the pub, or was it somewhere else where you did your pub?
I think it was in Ennistimon. Yeah.
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 We had a night out on the
because
pub.
we were there a couple of nights, and I went back to the same place a couple of nights.
Yeah, and there was good, we'll talk about pub life, but there's good like places where people just gather for their
Yeah.
own, make their own music, and it's not for tourists or anything. It's just for the locals just like to get together and do that. And so we got to experience that for sure in Steinman, and you can walk easily from this hotel into the area where the pubs are. And on one of the first days in County Clare, we're going to take a ferry over to one of the Aran Islands, Inisheer. And I just love this island because just feels like such a throwback. Like you could just imagine being there in like a century ago. It feels like it hasn't changed. I mean, they do have these horse-drawn carriages. I was with my sisters at one time, and we rented bikes last year with a group. And tell us a little bit about, I mean, and also I should say that the Banshees of Inisherin, I don't know if that was spelled that way, but I can't remember.
Inisherin, yes. It wasn't filmed on this island. It was filmed on the next island. So
Yeah.
the Aran Islands, there's 3 islands, and Inisherin means the easterly island. But it was in that whole area, the mainland and the other 2 islands, the Banshees of Inisherin were filmed all around there.
And it would be, it's a perfect place for it because they didn't have to do any like very much camouflage or set
No,
design. I mean, it was just like,
It was all the real thing.
yeah, it really was. So
What was nice about this island isn't, I think, Maria, the smallest of the Aran Islands?
it is. It's only
Yeah.
3 square miles, so it's the smallest one. So you can get around and see an awful lot of it.
Yeah, a few of us, because a few of us walked it, as some
Yeah.
people rode their bikes, and then some people went horse and carriage. So, it was like whatever you felt up to. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like you had to walk or you had to ride a bike. You made a choice.
Exactly, Joy. There's a lot of options. There is a little town, so it's not like, we're going out to, it is kind of in the middle of nowhere, but there are facilities, there's Wi-Fi, there is a little town, there's of course a pub, which is great, which is great food and some stores and things. But however, most of it is, there's a medieval castle, there's, a Bronze Age, 4,000-year-old, burial area with a monument. There's an old, fascinating old shipwreck. There's really cool stuff. And it's also unusually, this whole area is Gaelic speaking. So the main language is not English. The main language that you will hear in the stores and the pub is in fact Irish or Gaelic, which is more than 1,000 years older than English.
Wow. And and I guess that's one of the few places where it's just still so concentrated, or are there other
Yeah,
places?
it's called a Gaeltacht area. So there are certain areas around Galway, the Aran Islands. There are some areas in County Kerry, and some areas, but I'd say there's only 70,000 people in the whole country, and the population of the country is 7 million. Only 70,000 people would live in these various Gaeltacht areas and speak Irish as their main language every day. So it's dwindling, but it's experiencing a resurgence, and young people are getting interested in it again, and it's going through a big revival. But most people speak English on a daily basis, and these
Right.
areas, like you said, they're very concentrated, small areas. So we're getting to experience something pretty unique.
Wow, that is fabulous. After our time in the Aran Islands, we go to a little town called Ballyvaughan, and we meet Margaret, who is just a hoot. Oh my gosh. She is like, I call her the Irish whiskey queen. I think that's my unofficial title for her, but
Which is a good title for her.
yeah. But she's so entertaining. She knows so much. She makes it fun. We taste Irish whiskey. Even if you don't drink or don't like whiskey, you can, have some smells of it and then hear her stories. She has an incredible collection, right, of
Yes.
Irish whiskey. So, and in all of our trips, we like to visit local women. We like to meet the locals. So she's a perfect person for us to get to know on this trip. Let's see. Oh, and then this was one of those things that Maria, her experience really helped us. So this past year we went to Cliffs of Moher, which are the famous cliffs, and most of you probably have heard of them before. But we went in the afternoon, and it's really crowded. It can get really crowded. There's busloads and busloads of people. But Maria said, let's do it in the morning before the busloads get there and have an experience more that's more intimate, more personal. So, and the Cliffs of Moher, I mean, obviously they're gorgeous, but what else is great to know about them, Maria?
Well, has anyone here seen The Princess Bride? Well,
Oh,
in that movie, the Cliffs of Insanity are the Cliffs of Moher, and it's also the only location. It's only the only location that's not from the UK in any of the Harry Potter films. So it appears in one of the Harry Potter films as the
oh,
outside of Dumbledore's cave, but it's everywhere else in those films is shot only in the UK. It's the only non-UK. So they're quite spectacular. They're 700 feet high. They're a very unusual formation, and they are just. I think they're the epitome of that ruggedness we were talking about, that what you think of when you think of cliffs and Ireland and the sea and the Atlantic and the wild winds and all of that. I mean, this is just one of those utterly beautiful wild places that again they're under UNESCO protection. They're part of the UNESCO Geopark, and they're part of the Burren as well, that landscape. So it's yeah, they are really quite special. But we'll be getting there early in the morning before all the other tourists show up so that we can enjoy them in peace.
yes, and that was another thing that you'll have time to talk to us about it. It was just crazy when we were there, and Maria didn't even have time to really talk to us because there was just such crowd. So I think that's another benefit is we get to kind of be with you in the setting and really absorb what it all means and the history. And I think there's also some history of it being saved, not saved, but I guess protected. I guess there was, I remember reading something about how there were some families that either wanted to sell the land or something, and but somebody came in, the government, and protected it.
Yes.
So one of the areas, one of the little towns in this area is Lahinch Beach. We'll go. That's where I was doing my beautiful dancing on the beach. But I went there another time with my sisters. I just thought it was just a fabulous little town. But all these great, there's so many great towns. And one thing I love about these towns, there's buildings are always different colors, and there's just such a joy in the way they're painted and the main streets. And so and we will have a the foraging, seaweed foraging. We did that last year. It's just so interesting. This woman Una, tell us more about Una and her seaweed experience, Maria.
Well, the seaweed has a very, is part of a very old tradition in Ireland of people taking seaweed baths because it has all these minerals that are fantastic for your skin, but they're also edible, and Una is one of these people. She knows the seaweed. She knows all the different types, and she knows how to forage, and she's a very, very talented cook, so she creates a beautiful lunch with all kinds of hummus and kimchi and beautiful foods that she's created from the seaweed, as well as many other things. It's just
Yeah.
part of the experience. But so she teaches you about the seaweed, and you'll gather it with her, and then you get to eat the beautiful results of what she's
Yeah.
put.
It was something. It was quite, and again, meeting another fabulous Irish woman. Oh, here's we have about pub life. Yeah, yeah. And again, I'm not saying that it's all we're going to be drinking the whole time or anything. That's not. It's more about being part of the fabric of these communities. So we were in Ennistimon, and also another town we spend time in is Kenmare. It's just the place where you see where the locals live, and it's part of their daily routines, or just the way they interact with each other. It's just glorious, I think.
I just say that so I spent 4 days in Dublin before the Next Tribe trip started with another Next Tribe friend. And the difference between going to pubs in Dublin and going to pubs out in these little small communities was just a world of difference. Because in these little towns and villages, you're right, the local people just gather. I mean, they don't go to just drink and get drunk like a bunch of young people did and do in Dublin. It was just, they come in, they have a beer, they have a drink, and then if they have instruments and play, they'll sit down and play, and some will join, some will leave. It's a very symbiotic kind of thing. And by 10 o'clock, the musicians are finished and people are headed home. It's not, out till 2 o'clock in the morning drinking and that kind of stuff where what we think about in the US. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't even drink that much, which is, it's probably the tourists that drink the most when they come. It's very interesting. That's what I found anyway.
That's totally right, Joy. Like, I think, they're not bars in the sense that
Right.
of in America where, you go and
Yeah.
you drink. This is where these are focal points of the community. It's where everyone goes to find out what's going on and who was born and who died and who married and who ran off with who, and you'll find, little old ladies nursing the same, glass of sherry for the entire evening and, they'll sing their song. And so they're like community focal points that happen to serve alcohol as well, but they usually have a lot of history and they're family owned. So
Yeah.
no, they're not bars in the sense that we would, most people in modern think of.
And I do remember, I do have a recording, and if of a man singing in this one pub, and just unprompted, he just started singing, and it was this beautiful
Ballad.
a ballad of the, of his hometown of Ennistimon, and I just got I got chills. It was just so gorgeous. No accompaniment. It was just all a cappella, just him on his own. So that there's some really moving moments too. Like the songs that tell the story of a history or, some tradition in Irish life. So that really was fun. So when we will leave the Ennistimon, County Clare, and head down to County Kerry, and we'll pass through, a town, Adair, really beautiful. We'll see, gorgeous things along the way. I love the thatched roof places in Adair. And we'll have, I forget how long it might be like 3 hours or so, and we'll stop for lunch. So then we get to the town of Kenmare, which will be our base for the last part of the trip. And that is in County Kerry. And as you can see, it's is this the Kenmare River?
Yes, that's what it's called, after the river that runs through it. Yes.
Yeah, okay. We're staying at a place we stayed last time, the Brook Lane Hotel, really nice restaurant downstairs, very comfortable. And Kenmare Town, some people are shoppers, some are not. If you're a shopper, this is great shopping, let me tell you. So I think I bought this scarf there. But there's also one thing I want to do. We didn't do it with you last year, Maria, but there's this stone circle and these little fairy trees. Can you tell us about that?
Well, there is a stone circle just, within minutes walk really from the hotel in Kenmare that is it dates from the Bronze Age. So we believe that they would have been used in ceremony to honor the seasons, by the indigenous pagans, and there are many of these kinds of monuments and little stone circles dotted all around the country, hundreds of them. And they are linked. They are one of these thin places. So we'll get to visit that I was mentioning. And then the fairy trees, the hawthorn tree, often these places will have different trees of different meanings in Irish culture, but the hawthorn tree is especially important. It's considered a tree that belongs to the fairies. And our fairies, when we think of them in Ireland, are not, your typical Disney Tinkerbell fairies. They're much trickier than that. So you never mess with a fairy tree. If there's a hawthorn tree in a farmer's land, even to this day, they won't cut it down. And a lot of people joke about that. Does everyone remember DeLorean cars? Well, the DeLorean cars were manufactured in Belfast in the north of Ireland. And a lot of people say that his company went to the wall because he cut down a hawthorn tree when he was
Oh my
building
gosh.
the factory. Yeah. So, so that is people still, it sounds really far-fetched and kind of naive, but actually even very modern Irish people who are working in tech and all sorts of things, they wouldn't mess with a hawthorn tree.
And on these hawthorn trees, the little white pieces, which was great. You when you go into the little area, I think they give you some paper.
He did. Yeah.
And you can write down a wish that you
Yes.
want and pin it there. It was really,
Yes, there's a long tradition of that in various thin places like holy wells and stone circles, and where there's a fairy tree where you can put a wish or an intention, onto and tie it onto the tree, or you can put a little favor like a little piece of cloth, or it's like giving an offering to the fairies to make your intention come true. So and they're often in bloom actually as well during May. They are known as a May tree because they have these beautiful white flowers that blossom in May. So it is very associated with May.
but those aren't white, those aren't flowers, those are notes there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really special. So we'll get to do that with Maria, and you'll get to do that with Maria and Joy together and really get a good experience with that. So on one whole day, we're going to devote to the Barrow Peninsula, and it is, you, should I say this, that a lot of people hear about the Ring of Kerry, which is a drive around a peninsula, but it can get really crowded. And can you explain that? I mean, is the Barrow Peninsula just as beautiful, but without all the hype, or what would you say, Maria?
I think Barrow Peninsula is in a lot of ways it's more of a thin place than the Ring of Kerry, like I was talking about. So it has an awful lot of history linked with various goddesses in Irish mythology. So I think it's really perfect for a next tribe trip. It's very rugged. I think it's a lot less visited and a lot less spoilt. And actually, a lot of Irish people love to go on vacation there because it's not overrun with tourists, and it's very, very special. So you'll get the rugged, beautiful coastline, but also there's a beautiful little town there, a harbor town that's really quite special, and an old copper mine. And also we will be looking at some other thin places and having a hike, which we'll keep some surprises for the time, but it is really quite special.
And this is from like on our hike. This is from our hike, and then we had a beautiful outdoor lunch at
Lunch.
cafe.
Yes.
So, and we got to hear some stories about but we'll hear even more this time because Maria will be kind of conducting the whole hike and has such a great connection with the mythology and the traditions. So it's just a beautiful day for being out and enjoying that. I mean, just look at that, the sea and the cliffs and in the grass. And the picture before was going over one of those stiles. There's areas where you can climb over. They have fence wire, but so you can conduct your walk. They have these little steps. This one here, you walk over it.
They are pasture land.
Yeah.
That's why they're fenced in.
Yes.
They're pasture land.
Yes. So the farmers don't, instead of putting gates in that, people might forget to close and their animals get out, they put these little stiles in over the stone walls. So it's quite cute.
I know, I love it. I thought it was so fun. And then we will likely we've stopped at this little Molly Gallivan's cottage, and it's a authentic farm that's recreated authentic farm. Is that right? But it's a recreation of how people would have lived during the famine, during the potato famine. And so, and it's just what they also have some ancient, what was it, Maria, that they had something where the things lined up with the sunrise and.
Oh yeah, there was
They had stones.
Yeah, one of the stones yes, some of those stone monuments that we see all around the country are lined up with the equinox or the summer solstice or the setting sun on the winter solstice, so it's all honoring nature in movement with the seasons. So yes, they have an example of that on the land.
Yeah, so we'll have some time, and I guess I should say this is time dependent, because if we end up spending a lot of time hiking in the Barrow Peninsula, we might get less time here. So but it is a nice place to look at the way that a traditional farm would have been laid out and life would have been conducted. And I just wanted to make a point about the food. We ate such gorgeous food the whole time. I have to just you know, I don't know
Good.
what people think about Irish cooking in general, but it's where we went, it was very sophisticated, unusual. We had happy people, well fed. So got to do that.
Just
And
on that
Absolutely.
theme,
And
I love asking people what surprised them the most. And so many people said the food. Because I know we Irish, like we're known for our contributions to poetry and music, but perhaps not our contributions to world cuisine. But I swear it's not all potatoes. But no, like we really, like in modern times, it's become a great fusion place for fantastic seafood and a lot of, you know, there were people with special dietary needs and who were vegan who weren't expecting to have such a fantastic time on the food front, and they really did. So
yeah,
yeah, that was good. And we're going to end. I know that there's two people on this call who were in Scotland with us, and that picture of the people with a farmer is actually from Scotland. But we're going to do the same thing in Ireland. We're going to go to a sheepdog farm, you know, a sheepdog demonstration, see them working with the sheep. So we will definitely I hope Mary Beth and Gail agree. I just loved it. I mean, it's a short little thing, but you get such a connection to farm life there, and of course the sheep is such a big part of the whole way of life in
and we
our.
didn't do it on the first trip.
Yeah, we did not do it on the first trip, so that was like that would have been great. But then when we did it in Scotland right after this trip, I was like, oh my God, we've got to do that in Ireland. So much fun.
Yeah.
So let's see. So what after that? So when we finish in the town of Kenmare, we're going to leave at midday, and we can either drop you, if you are going to go on to different parts, say you want to go to Dublin, we'll take you to a train, and you can take the train into Dublin, or if there's something else you want to do. Otherwise, we'll go to the Shannon airport and we'll stay at a airport hotel so we can get, you know, most of flights, international flights, or at least to the United States, leave in the morning. So we will be set to get our morning flights the next day. So I just wanted there were so many pictures. I just wanted to show you. This is again in a sheer. This on one of these little walking trails near the Falls Hotel. There was this little thing I just loved. This is on the farm, meeting all the animals, and this is Joy. Joy is such a great model for me. She's so tolerant. I'm always like, Joy, stand over here. Great picture. But and we have a quote from testimonial from Peggy Miller. She says, Ireland at its best, quaint place to see, great food, relaxing yet fulfilling, local vibe extraordinaire. I have Irish heritage, and this trip was a perfect way to connect with my ancestors. As they say in Ireland, tanks. And this was on Inisheer. This was Inisheer also. And oh wait, I had another. Oh, there, that was from Leslie from last year. I love getting out of the big cities and instead exploring Ireland's beautiful countryside and history. Local guides provided an intimate experience of authentic Irish life. And they're talking about you, Maria. So anyway, this is just such a beautiful, beautiful trip. Okay. So we have a great group here. What kind of questions do people have about the trip to Maria, to Joy? Anyone? You can write it and I don't check.
It looked like there were a couple of questions that were written down.
Oh, do they dance in the pubs? I did.
you certainly did. They do sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, it depends. They might be doing a sad song and everyone gets very quiet and, you know, everyone just show respect for the singer. And then it'll, you know, the whole vibe will change and somebody will start playing another instrument and it'll get, you know, loud and lively again. So anything can happen. It's very spontaneous.
Yeah. And I just like to do, everybody who has traveled with me knows it's kind of like a silly joke, like, oh God, she's dancing again. So is the itinerary written out anywhere? Yes. Yes, it is, and I'll put a link in there. We've got a beautiful itinerary. And how large is a group? We can only do 12 because we'll have 12 plus Joy and Maria, so 14 total. And the deadline to commit to the trip is sooner the better, because we do sometimes sell out, or we sell out of the rooms that you might want. And there's a Dublin is before or after. Is that do you want a suggestion of whether to do Dublin before or after? Is that what you want?
Yeah. Because I just researched it a little bit to go to Dublin first, and then you're just saying kind of to go after. So I,
Oh, either way, I mean, if you went to Dublin first, we would just have you, we would connect you, but you'd take a train to Galway. Do you know, Maria, how long that train would be?
It's about 2.5 hours from Dublin to Galway, and it's pretty easy. And the train station is right in the heart of Galway. So
yeah, the train station is apparently like a 3-minute walk to the hotel
yeah,
where
it's
we're going to be.
It's
So like
really
really
close.
close.
So there are plenty of trains, they start at 5 a.m. and they go till about 9 o'clock at night, and they take about 2.5 hours, and it's an easy trip.
And what we're doing, Shannon Airport is like an hour and a half, I think, away from Galway.
Yeah.
So we are organizing, there's going to be one pickup at 11 a.m. on that day that the flights, I mean, that people arrive, the first day. So that's the only pickup we can do. So, if people arrange their trips in, or if you decide to come to Galway early and and you're with some friends, or you're talking to other people who are coming in early and you want to arrange your own trip, but we have one pickup at at Shannon to go to Galway, because it is it's difficult. So I mean, I think in that sense, if you wanted to come early so that you could get a little over your jet lag before the trip, I would say go to Dublin beforehand and take a train, and you'll be right there. But then fly out of Shannon. You could fly into Dublin and out of Shannon. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Alice, how are you?
Good.
They were on our Portugal trip together. So what else? Do we have any other questions in here?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
How long do we get to do the dancing lessons?
Oh, I think it's about an hour and a half or something, but we could, then after we have the dancing lessons, that means we can practice in the pubs and not look silly.
What?
You'll have 2 nights in Galway City, and you're really spoilt for choice for pubs and music choices, and there's lots going on in Galway, so you'll have plenty of opportunities to practice your newfound skills.
Haley in Scotland was so much fun.
Oh my God, we did a Kaylee in Scotland, and oh my God, I didn't sit still the whole time, and Gail was my partner a lot of the time. So, anything else? Oops. Wait, did I lose you? Uh-oh.
Oh, you're there.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to get, anything, I'm trying to get off, here I am. Never mind. Oh, you're back, yay. I was trying to get the link for the brochure, but I lost you for a minute. What other kind of questions are there?
Oh, tell me about the cooking class.
Well, it'd be a baking class. It'd be like Irish scones and that kind of thing. So we'd doing some baking, and I'm not sure, I'll double check if it does Irish soda bread. Irish soda bread is pretty famous.
Can we expect really cool temperatures when we're there? Or I saw everybody was wearing jackets.
I can talk on that a little bit, Susan.
Okay.
So in May, your kind of typical daytime temperatures are sort of in the late 50s, early 60s Fahrenheit. However, on the West Coast, the wind can make it feel cooler than it actually is. And we have very variable weather. So you might be really lucky in May and we'll just get beautiful sunshine the whole week. However, it's more likely we will get very mixed weather and there will be rain. And so I always just say expect a little bit of everything. You won't get snow, but you will. You know, you do have to allow for that the wind makes it cooler than the temperature is, and also it can rain. So I'm a big fan of layers. Always
Mhm.
have, you know, you can strip on, strip off, and just, you know, like I said, anything can happen. So just allow for 4 seasons in one day,
Yes,
and do bring a rain jacket. I don't tend to recommend umbrellas outside the city because, you know, they're
Blow
toast very
away.
quickly. Nothing. So do bring a good rain jacket, and you know, no harm to bring a warm hat. You may never use it, but you might be very glad of it on the day we're at the Cliffs of Moher.
yes.
Good
And
advice.
yes, and so, and of course, we'll have a packing list and all of that, but, yes, so when I was in 2024, when I went to Ireland, we had just spectacular sunshine, pretty warm. I was wearing, no jackets, or I wore sleeveless tops. But then last year we did have quite a bit of rain, and we made it work because we all had good rain jackets. And I mean, that's really important. Like, if you have a good rain jacket with a good hood, you can go, most anywhere. And then wherever possible, and we'll have a rain plan or weather plan, just to a backup, because we know that's a possibility. So we
Can
try
I
to
say
keep.
one thing about the
Yep.
rain jackets?
Of course.
Because I live in Texas and mostly have lived in the South, a raincoat to me was a very thin, just thin. Let me just say thin.
Yeah.
And a friend, my roommate, the quote from Peggy, she had just a thin raincoat and it soaked all the way through. So when Jeannie says you need a good raincoat, you need a real waterproof raincoat, and waterproof shoes are also really important.
Yes. And Peggy ended up, we found her
I
one.
bought one.
Yeah, she bought one along the way.
I can
bought a
I
new
can bring
raincoat.
only all my Colorado clothes
Yeah.
Yes.
there. I mean, I'm set.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah,
a trip to
That's
REI before we go.
Yes. And Kathy, I think you were asking about the itinerary. I just put a link in there. That's to the itinerary. Do you see it in the chat there? Okay, so that'll get you there.
Can you
Let's-
give us suggestions? I'm definitely going to Dublin before.
Yeah.
And I'm also going on a day trip to explore where my ancestors came from in the
Ooh.
1848, before they immigrated to the United States. But give us a suggestion of things that we shouldn't miss in Dublin.
Oh, Maria, can you help with that?
Sure. Well, it certainly if you're interested in if you have lineage, you know, Irish lineage, and you're interested in particularly the famine, the Epic Museum is fantastic. It's quite a new museum, but it's about the Irish diaspora, because there's, you know, like yourself, there's over 80 million people worldwide who claim Irish heritage, largely because of that emigration that began in the 1840s, and we went all over the world. But the Epic Museum is quite a beautiful and moving and really
Yeah.
well done museum to see. And there's the famine memorial there, and there's a reconstruction of one of the ships that used to take people back and forth across the Atlantic at that time, the Jeanie Johnston. Other things, you know, it depends what you're interested in. Trinity College is always beautiful to see, but I'm biased, that's my old alma mater.
Well, there's the Book of Kells, right?
Book of Kells is
But
there.
you need advance reservations.
You do. If you want to see the Book of Kells, you do need to book in advance online for the Book of Kells experience. But you can visit, if you don't want to go in and see the Book of Kells, you can visit the campus. It's right in the middle of the city, and it's very, very beautiful. It's like the old, you know, it's twinned with Oxford and Cambridge. So it was built in 1592 by Queen Elizabeth I. Yes, the first one. And so it is really quite, you know, spectacular. It's right in the city center, and you know, there's lovely, if you're interested in literature, tell me what kind of things you're interested in, and I can give you even more specific.
Well, I read that the library's long room there is under renovation. So it's not
Oh.
quite as impressive. They've taken a lot of the books out right now.
Okay, well, the Long Room Library, I
Is
was
that-
there only a few weeks ago. They must be doing that over the winter. Hopefully that might be done. I can find out about that. Yeah, we can find out a bit more about that for you. But that was open during the summer, so if it's closed, that was very, very recent.
Okay, and the other county, well, the one I know where it's at, but the other county, and I may not be pronouncing it correctly, Laish. It used to
Oh,
be Queen
Laois.
County.
That's County Laois. Yes, that's in the center of the that's in the Midlands. So that's about an hour, hour and a half drive from Dublin. We won't be visiting that on the trip because it's we're focused on 3 counties in the west of Ireland. But you know, you could perhaps see about traveling there afterwards or before if you
That's what I
like.
was going to do. Is it worth visiting? I read that they had a workhouse and some history there.
There are, I mean, if it's, you know, County Laois is probably not what I would say is, you know, being honest, on the top of any itinerary for Ireland because we have so many spectacular things on the
Right.
west coast and other. However, if you have links there, you know, everywhere in Ireland, you know, you just throw a rock and you'll find something really, you know, historic and interesting, and that could be linked to, you know, everything. You know, we have such an old culture here that everything is sort of culturally interesting. But if you have family there, then it is, you know, if you're in Dublin, you could organize to get out there for, you know, a day or a half day. It is about an hour or so from Dublin.
Thank you.
I'll just add one more thing. It was very easy. So I was in Dublin for 4 days before the trip last year, and it was very easy to get a 1-day bus tour to Belfast. And there were 2 other women on our trip who actually stayed in Belfast for about 3 days before they started the Next Tribe trip, and they absolutely loved Belfast. And I have to say I enjoyed it too. So it was nice to also see Northern Ireland. So I just throw that in.
And you know, Gail, we can definitely, not that we can arrange your trip for you, but we can we can give you some suggestions. I would also say that in Dublin, I went with my sisters that one year, and my little sister loves the Irish river dance. And of course, I was like, oh yeah, river dance. Well, but we went, and I was just blown away. I just loved it. So anyway, they have that, of course, and I mean, yeah, I guess it's considered touristy, but it was just charming, and I was especially because it's dancing. And I know Kathy, you asked, you have to have a roommate. No, you can do it as single. You can do it go as a single, or if you can sign up as a double, and we'll find you a roommate. And we've had good luck with people meeting roommates. Alice, we set you up with, you were with Bridget, right? Was it that you're?
No,
No,
who
you
was
were
with-
single. You were single. Okay.
I'm a single room kind of girl.
Okay. Okay.
There were other single room kind of girls on our trip too, but I don't remember who Bridget was with.
Now that I remember, Bridget and Delcy were together.
Yeah, right,
I
right.
forgot that. So yes, but it happens. We've had good luck with people meeting. You know, the one thing about our trips, I have to say, is that people seem the groups really gel because everybody's sort of like-minded. They're still curious. They still want to see and do and have that open mind and curiosity. So that usually makes for a good pairing of people. I know Joy, you usually stay with, you know, oh, you but one.
I've gone with just an unknown roommate before, and I've traveled in my previous traveling life, always did either solo travel or with an unknown roommate with a group, and I've never had a bad roommate.
I know, that's right. Last year you had Gail,
Yeah,
right, for
yeah.
in Day of the Dead. I forgot about that. You
Yeah,
guys were
yeah.
a
And we had a
good
great
pair.
time together.
Yeah, that was a great parent. So yes, is the price for single room? Yes, the website does. I could tell you right now, if you want me to. I just gotta look. That will the pricing for single is is obviously a little more, and I hate that. I know people who like a single room don't like that that it's more expensive, but we have to pay for the whole room, and the hotels charges, blah, blah, blah. So there's always something. While we talk, anything else while I'm looking that up for her, like the price. Just talk if you want to, if you have anything. Here we go. For a single.
$59.99.
Yes, okay, 59.99. And women, ladies, I have to tell you that things, I know they sound expensive, and I'm not sneezing at that price, but you know, our dollar is a little weaker than it has been in the past year or so. So please don't have a heart attack when you hear some of those prices. We're dealing
It's
with euros.
exchange rate.
Exchange rate that's a real factor in our business, you know, and for anybody, if you're traveling on your own, you'll see it too, you know, without going through Next Tribe. So that's just something we're dealing with right now. But I tell you that I just want to say this, that we do surveys after all of our trips. And one of the questions is, did you get good value for your money? And we almost, I would say 95% say yes. We try to make sure that each day you get things that you couldn't get on your own, you know, and just having Maria with us and having Joy, who's going to be singing in a pub, you know, that kind of thing. You know, it's just like, there's just intangibles that you're not going to get if you were to book by yourself. And we we don't go all out, you know, super luxurious hotels. We make sure they're probably 4-star, maybe 3.5-star, whatever, but very comfortable. But we feel like you don't need to put all your money in the hotel, because you're going to be going out and doing, but we want to make sure you have good food, good, you know, comfortable transportation, those kind of things. So I wanted just to say that, because I feel like as I watch the dollar weaken, I'm like, so, but that's our life. That's what
I
we do.
don't know. The Quinta Nova in Portugal was pretty luxurious.
Well, that's true. It was.
I
That's
thought-
like, okay, yeah.
I thought that
Sounded like-
too. I was pondering as I looked out over the river how you managed to do that one.
Yes, we do. On our Portugal trip, I have to say that is and it just worked out, I guess, you know. And I have to say Portugal in total is probably a little bit lower cost than some of the other European countries. So, but yeah, but that one's the grape harvest too. Anyway, I'm not selling Portugal, but maybe you want to come, want to do both. Portugal's in September. Anyway, so what else? Anything else? Because if not, I'm going to draw names. Somebody's going to win $400 off this trip. I'm putting everybody's name. Look here. Here's Kira. Kira's still on. Susan, Kathy, Gail, Mary Beth, Noelle, Alice, Celia. Did I miss anybody? Okay. So here I
Your
am
coffee cup.
in a coffee cup. I'm staying at somebody else's house, and I was looking for a bowl, and I was like, well, we'll do a coffee cup. Up, Susan.
Susan! Now you have to go.
I
you have to
was
go.
gonna go anyway, and this.
Okay, well then you can let somebody else have it. Ha ha. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I just wanted, so I'll tell Marcy this, and I just also want to tell all of you, if you were to sign up in the next week, I'll take for anybody on this call, nobody else will get this, but $100 off. So Susan will get her 400 off, but all of you will get $100 off. And then you also, if you're a Next Tribe member, you get another 100. So you could get $200 off if you want to sign up sooner rather than later. So, I know, do you have any questions of Maria while we have her? Because she's our Irish expert and sweet.
It's late at her house.
I was
Oh,
gonna
yes,
say,
it is late. That's
What
right.
what time
is.
is it?
Thank you for noticing. Yes, it's half after midnight here.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
we gotta let you go. Anyway, so I will tell Susan, and Marcy, who does all arrangements, if you book, you just book regularly, and then she'll give you the discount. And this applies to all of you. Either Susan's 400 or your 100 will be replied afterwards. If you're a member, there's a code that I will that you can get the $100 off, or we'll take that off afterwards too. So don't worry about it. We won't let you, you know, pay too much. Anyway, thank you so much,
Thank
everybody,
you.
for coming. It's so great to see all of you, and I hope you get to have the experience with Maria and Joy. Really
I
fun.
hope so
Forward
too.
to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Take care.
excited.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Maria and
you.
Joy. Thank you,
Thank
Maria, for
you.
staying up late for us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.